point.
Tell us a little bit about Sweden. Is there a big music scene where you grew up?
Yeah, I mean, Sweden is an amazing country to be a musician in so many ways, because we have like, I mean, if you go to creating music, like in that sense, it's amazing. Like, uh, education here is free. There's a lot of like music, like incorporated in school from an early age. Like when I was like, yeah, 10, or like from start, really, we all played an instrument in school, and then you could continue. And like, since education is free, it's like, it's very easy to like educate yourself within music. You don't have to like take a loan and like take a huge risk, because I mean, it is a risky business. So in that way, it's like such a blessing to be from Sweden. And also we have this whole legacy of like Max Martin, ABBA, and all those things.
Yeah, of course.
So that's cool. But when it comes to like being an artist and playing live, it's not that many people in Sweden. Like, it's 10 million people in the whole country, and a lot of scenes. It's not very good for like the live scene. Like Stockholm, I live in Stockholm, the capital, and it's like, not that many scenes for like artists that are my size. Like,
Oh, there's not a lot of venues to play.
venues, exactly. It's like, if you're a like mid-size artist, it's kind of hard to find gigs, because you can't fill out like the venues that have like 1,000 people capacity, but you're still bigger than like playing in the smallest bar,
Right, like a little dive bar or something.
Yeah, so it's like sort of like a middle, it's like a gap there for those artists, which I find when I'm in other like capitals, there's so much more like venues and just like places. So that's the boring side. A lot of like the city center culture life is getting like closed down right now in Stockholm, because like people are like, rich people move into like neighborhoods that have been cool, and then they move there and they're like, we want everything to be quiet, we want it to be like we want it our way, and then they like for some reason get their will, and now a lot of places are closing down. So that's kind of a bummer. But
yeah. We've had that same situation here, especially in where we live in San Diego, in
yeah, it's like
California.
gentrification nation. It's like,
Sure.
can you just like not, if you hate sound, why do you want to live here? It's always like sounds and music and people living their lives here. Like, don't move here. But yeah, so that's like a huge discussion right now in Stockholm, and like a lot of like people are getting sick of it, because there's basically like the culture is just dying. But in a way, it's not dying, it's just moving out to the suburbs, and it's like really cool, a lot of cool raves and stuff in the woods, and it's like, that's cool, but it's not legal, so it's like I don't know.
Yeah. So there isn't a whole lot, like, because you've achieved a bit of success, there's not really like that middle ground venue for you to play in.
Yeah, I mean, I can play at the smaller bars, which is like fun. And I mean, if you would get to play like a warm up for bigger artists, that's cool. But it's like, yeah. So creating music, that's great in Stockholm. There's so many like good producers, good songwriters, and I think as a songwriter, you get a lot of respect just for like being Swedish, because people in the world know that we have a lot of good music coming from here. So that's a blessing. But yeah, the live part is more difficult. But that's why I'm trying to like expand and like go to London and play some gigs and like build something there. And I've played in like cities around Europe just to like try and build, some sort of
like a fan
base. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So what was the first, so you said you learned music really, early. They introduced that really early on in school. What was the first instrument you learned?
Sorry, what was the most?
What was the first instrument you learned? You said that
Oh
they
yeah,
incorporated music really early on in your education. So I was
Mhm.
curious, like how you got into.
I mean, I played the, what's it called, the flute.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I played that, and I mean, it wasn't like I thought it was fun. Like I've always like the first I even before school I was always singing, and I was that annoying kid when like my mom had her friends over. I was like, I'm gonna put on a show for you. I've been writing songs, and they're like, okay, now we have to watch this. But yeah, then I started playing that, and then I started playing guitar when I was like 12, and so yeah, it was it was the flute that was the first introduction, I guess, but I don't remember it now. It was more guitar that actually like got me into playing the music that I sort of play now. I had a band when I was like 13 to 15, and we were like doing all those like battle of the bands, you
Oh
know,
shit.
stuff. And then I started producing when I was like 15 because I wanted to get into this school that was like it's like a high school, but they had like a music, like it was more into the music stuff, and you also study like maths and stuff. But it was, yeah, that was the
Is
direction of the education.
that school called? Is that the music?
Makana. No, that's more like after you graduate, you're like,
Oh, that's like
ele-
like they
yeah,
like
like
university.
college more. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
no, yeah, we pick a school when we're 15. We pick like gymnasium, which is sort of like high school, and it's like mandatory. But then you can sort of pick, you know, some people but like they pick like you know, social science, or they pick like, you know, like nature biology stuff. And
Mhm.
I took a program which is like music and social science sort of. So it was more, yeah,
Like
it was a
art.
lot of music.
That's
Yeah.
really cool. So when you're singing for your mom and her friends, what type of music were you singing? Who inspired you?
Like when I was really small, it was like my first CD was Britney Spears
Oh
when I
yeah.
was like 5. So I really liked Britney, and I listened to like a lot of pop, of course. But then I also had like my uncle loved a lot of music. Like I don't really come from like a musical family in the sense that like, oh, everybody's a musician, la la la. But they loved music, so he listened to a lot of old like blues, like Robert Johnson, like Bessie Smith, like
Oh,
those kind of stuff. So I kind of got that influence as well, and I was always like, so, you know, I got captured from like Billie Holiday when she was singing, because it was like, you know, she's just so sad. Like she has
cool.
so much emotion, and it's like when I got older I started to like get influenced by that. But when I was small, it was a lot of it was a mix of like hearing a lot of music at home, and also just loving, you know, Britney, Destiny's Child,
Oh
Yeah.
all
yeah.
those things. Yeah.
So did you sing and dance to that to your family, like your mom's friends, Britney
Yeah,
Spears?
yeah, Britney, and but also like I would write my own songs. I remember the first time I wrote a song, it was like that it was called Pink Car, but it was in Swedish, but it was called Pink Car, and it was about me getting rich, and I was gonna buy a pink car.
Oh,
Yes.
that's
I
awesome.
always wanted one.
Right? I still want a pink car. Like
Me
it's
too.
still a
I want
goal.
a Mercedes. That's so cool. That's amazing that you wrote music. So growing up, did you speak Swedish and English or
Yeah, like I learned. Like I moved to Ireland when I was 6, because my dad is Irish, and so I knew a little English then, but it was like Swedish was my main language. And then I moved there, and I sort of, you know, when you're that small, you learn a language in like weeks, because yeah, you're just so smart when you're a kid. I don't know, or like, yeah, you know, you pick it up easy. So that's when I started to, you know, speak English, and then I started writing in English too. But now, since I talk like in my family we talk like Swinglish, because everybody know like, so it's sort of like a mix. When I like I feel that when I'm like in a conversation, when I have to speak only English, like I can obviously manage, but it's still like I'm searching for words because we just like mix everything all the time. Yeah.
That's so cool. I've never heard that term before.
Yeah.
English. Yeah.
So you got to, at 15, you got to choose what you wanted to kind of get into. So you chose music, and when you finished and you went to, is that when you went to that pop music academy? Or no?
No, actually not. It took me like 4 years before I applied there, because when I was in this like high school situation, I met really like cool people who just like my friends, and we started making music. We were like, I got a boyfriend and he was like a rapper, so I was like, I always liked hip hop. I liked, like, my mom loves Eminem. So
That's awesome.
I like grew up with her like vacuuming in the house, like she loved like cleaning out my closet, and she was like,
Oh.
okay. So I loved Eminem, and I liked like Lauryn Hill and those stuff and those type of artists. So, and then I got together with this guy, and he was like a rapper, and all the parties, they would always like freestyle, all the guys, and then it was like me and another girl, and we would hang out with them, and we were like, I'm not good at like freestyling, but we would like hang out us two, and we were like, yeah, we should just like start a group. And then we started a group. So we started making like this weird mix of like electronic music and rap and singing. And then and also we started DJing together. So we did that. And so after like finishing high school, I just played with her. We got gigs, and we arranged like clubs together, and we traveled around in Sweden playing, not just like big scenes, but still like festivals and like smaller venues.
Wow.
And I also like worked on the side as a waitress. And yeah, we did that for a while, and then I just went out traveling, and I always made music, but I didn't really know what I wanted to like do with it. Like I just like sort of jumped on every every like thing that came along. I was like, yeah, DJing, cool, I'm gonna do that. And then I was like into sound. I was like working as a sound technician for a while,
Oh, cool.
at like small places and like clubs and stuff. But then I just heard about that Musikmakarna, that like
Yeah.
college school, and I had plenty of friends that have gone there, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna apply, because I had this like sort of moment when I was like, yeah, after a few years of just doing that, and I felt like I'm sort of stuck in the same place, like I'm not really moving forward. I was like, okay, I'm gonna apply there, and I'm also gonna apply to like, because I've always had this thought that I want to be a teacher. So I was like,
Oh,
I'm gonna apply to like that school, and then I'm gonna apply to just like a teaching college, or like, yeah, where you study to be a teacher. And like if I get into Musikmakarna, that's like a sign for me to like keep going. Then I have something, because I was starting to like doubt myself, because like, this industry is like weird.
it's hard.
And then I got in. So I was like, okay, let's do this. And then yeah, since then I've just been like evolving as an artist and producer and songwriter as well. So that's cool.
That's amazing. Is it harder to get in since it's free?
I mean, it's different. Like there are different kind of schools, like, but this one is like pretty hard to get in, because it's like it has a very high reputation, and it's also unique in a way, because they work with the industry. Like it's not like we're gonna pretend to write a song to blah blah blah. It's like actual leads from actual labels and stuff. So
Oh,
that's why
wow.
it's a lot of people like applying there, because it's sort of like getting a step into the actual business.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Really cool. How do you apply to that school? Do you have to like show them that you know how to sing, or do you have to have like a music?
Yeah, it was such a process. It's not like, okay, you have to like be able to play the piano and all those things, but like you have to send in 5 songs that you made, and then you send in like a CV and like a personal letter, and your stuff that you've done and all those things, and then they pick out, I don't know exactly how many apply every year, but it's like a couple of hundred people, and then they pick out like a few of them that they think are like the best, and then they play the music to some like industry people, and then they pick their 40 top people that they think are like the best. And of
Wow.
those 40 people, you go to the school and you spend a day there, and you have to like they do an interview with you, and you get to do like 2 small tests, and you also get paired up with somebody that you have never met before, and you have to like write a song together during that day.
Wow.
And you have to play it in the end. But it was like sort of like a chill vibe in a way, because it was like, okay, you have to write a song with these words in it, and the words were like pretty, it was just funny words. It wasn't like, okay, you have to write the best pop song. It was more like they wanted to see that you're a functioning human being that can cooperate with other people and not be weird.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And
awesome.
from that, they take out the class, which is like 30 people. So yeah.
Wow.
That would be a great TV show. I would watch that.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Do you remember the songs you submitted?
I do, yeah.
Do you still play those, or were they more of that hip hop genre?
It was like I took one from that hip hop crew thing. I was like thinking like, okay, I'm gonna show that I'm very wide, because it's like mostly a song, it's not like an artist school, it's for songwriters and producers. So I was like, okay, they gotta know that I can do a lot of things,
Genres, yeah.
so I sent in like one from that project, and then one song that I made, like a Maydar song that was more like R&B-ish, and then one like house song that I had made with this guy, and then I just like tried to do like different things and show them that I'm like versatile.
Yeah, exactly. When did you start Maydar? Was that after going to the college, the music academy?
No, it was actually I've had the thought of Maydar for like a long time. When I was in that duo with that girl in high school and the years after, we had our own names, and I was always like, okay, what should be like, when we were like forming it, I was like, what's my artist name? I don't know. And my middle name is May, and like, so then was a friend who just said like, if you're gonna do an artist project, you should be called Maydar, because I had like a fake ID when I was like a teenager, where Dar was my last name on that fake ID. And since then I was like, I had that name with me, like people would call me that and la la la. And then I was like, I knew that I wanted to make music, so I basically spent a few years like while working with other things before going to that school, just like sitting in and making stuff basically. And when I went to music, when I started Musikmakarna, I was like, I'm not gonna focus on the artist thing now. I'm gonna like focus on being a songwriter and producer. But then I just like realized really quick that that's not my jam. Or like, it is my jam to like produce for others, but it's like, I don't wanna just write anything. Like if I can't do the music that I want to do, then I can be a teacher, or I can be whatever. Like I feel like I want to work with music, and I want to do this because like it's a passion of mine, but like I don't have to do anything just to like get around. Like, does that make, if that makes sense?
Yes.
So then I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to do the Maydar thing here as well. And then I started to write the songs that I have now released. And
Wow. The one that you have out currently is called Fool Me Twice.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's not like completely produced by me, just for the record. It's like I mixed everything, and I've written all the songs together with other people, and I've produced 2 other tracks, but it's also other dope people that I've worked with. So
Right.
yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
So with that record, when did you start playing shows as Maydar? Was that
I had some shows before I started Musikmakarna as well, just because since I also DJ and I just like know people, and sometimes you sort of get a gig and I was like, yeah, let's do that. But like when I released my first single after starting Musikmakarna, which was a song called Taxi, it's not on the EP, but it's another single. That's when I like got my first show, like a proper show as Maydar, and that was in 2016.
Oh wow.
No, wait, now I'm lying. 2017. 2017. Yeah. 2 years ago.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So since you like you know how to mix and you know how to be like a sound engineer and producer, do you prefer the recording studio or performing live? Like what do you feel most comfortable doing?
That question is hard because I enjoy them equally in different ways. Like I love being in the studio and creating, but I also find that process very it's like very like I get like empty after it, because you don't really see the like for me, music, creating music and like releasing music is like about, you know, connecting with people. That's what music is like. And I don't get that from sitting in the studio. I just connect with me, and I connect with like getting my emotions out and like nailing that perfect like reverb that I think is cool in that song. So I get those things from sitting in the studio, but when I play live, that's when I like see reactions and I'm like, okay, you're having fun with me right now. So I can't really pick one. They're both great.
I love that. So when did you are you signed to a record label in Sweden, or just you just have management?
I have nothing actually. I'm just me. Like I just, I mean, I think it's because I come from like a hip hop, like all my friends that I knew, like when I actually started out and doing things, it's like in Sweden, it's like most hip hop acts, of course, like some have labels, but it's not like that's the way you have to do it to release. So I just released everything myself, and I I don't have like a management like Sweden. We have managers in Sweden, but it's not like when you go to like the UK or like also in America or whatever, it's like everybody has a manager, and it's really not like that here. In the same way, we don't have that manager culture, which I think is kind of sad, because I mean, you need a manager. But I have like dope people that I can ask for help and like bounce ideas by and stuff. But so that's nice. That's sort of like a management, but so far it's just been me.
Wow.
So is Adam Nicole like one of your like advocates that is just like really helping you get
Yeah, he's like helped me, because I realized like if I want to get into the London or like London but like UK scene, I can't do that myself. So Adam has been helping me with the UK scene sort of. And yeah, I met him through a guy called Pierce, who booked, like I got booked to one of his like he had a club night in London. So, and I just asked him like, do you have any good like PR people that you think I should talk to? And Adam was that guy, and we met there. And yeah,
That's
so,
really cool.
Wow. So how did you get hooked up with that UK show? You asked about him.
Right. I'm like, good question. No, yeah, he just reached out to me because he had heard some songs and he was like, I like this. Well, what's up? Like, what are the plans? Are you coming to UK soon or whatever? And then we had like a Skype meeting, and then I wrote to him because I was going there to have some sessions, with some other songwriters, and I was like, okay, maybe it's a long shot, but I can just write to him and say that I'm there. And then he had a club night during the week I was there. So then
Wow.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
sometimes it's like, why do I do this? Because you're like getting sick of like talking about yourself. You're like, hello, I'm great, please love me. But
Oh,
but
that's amazing.
as,
Yeah.
until I find the right person that wants to like work with me and believes in me, then I have to do that.
What is the biggest obstacle you've faced so far musically?
I feel like I was like every day is an obstacle, but it's not. But like, but like, I haven't had those like experiences when it's like, yeah, I had a record deal and then that sucked because I've just been independent. But I had, you get high hopes because I've had like labels reaching out and I'm like, yay, and then you like get an email or like you email a while and then like nothing happens. Like it's not like one obstacle, it's more like, okay, it's such a process of making it. And it's sort of like I just realized like now that it's like so damn hard to like reach out through the like buzz because there's so much music being released. So like musically that's been like an obstacle that I face, like and especially like now as well with releasing the EP, because it's something that I've never done before, and it's like, okay, now I have to push like a big release. It's not just one single, and like how do I get people to actually listen to all the songs and like those stuff. And being alone in this is like sometimes very like it can be really tiring and very like
Difficult.
easy to doubt yourself because you don't have that thing where you have like a band and you can like together be like, yeah, we can do this. Like I have amazing friends that support me and that I can talk to that also make music, but they're not like in the band or like they're not Maydar. So yeah, that's I think the biggest obstacle in general. I don't have like a specific situation like that.
And where you're at right now, when you record in the studio, do you have to, fund that yourself? Do you have to like work and then pay for it, or is there like a program in Sweden that helps pay for it?
The studio I have now, no, now I just I rent this space. It's like it's like two small rooms in a basement under like an office complex, and I ran it together with the two friends. They have this production duo called Husky and Pug, and I pay for it myself. I pay for everything. I have to work on the side. Well, and that's why it's nice to like that I DJ as well. I can like get some money from that, and like I hold like workshops and stuff where I teach others how to DJ and stuff, so I can get some money from that. And yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's so cool. Yeah, you could do like an online class too, so you could teach people out here.
Yeah.
Ooh, maybe that's a good. I love it. I'm like, maybe, yeah. It's you have to get around, and sometimes like now I've been studying, so I've had the like luxury of like having that as like a safety net. Like in Sweden we can borrow money when we study to like it's a very like affordable loan. So I've done that while I've been studying. It's not like you get out a lot of money, but you can cope if you I live like a bit outside of Stockholm in like a apartment with a lot of people, so it's like my rent is low. So you can sort of cope if you just work, but like a little bit on the side. But now I have to like look over how I'm gonna be able to afford paying for my music career. So maybe I'll have to like do some, I don't know, waitressing or whatever, or maybe something else comes up. I don't know. Right, for the summer I have gigs so I can manage, but yeah.
Wow.
That's really cool.
What's your like ultimate goal? Like what do you want from everything, all this hard work you've been putting into the music industry? what is your, would you want to be as big as Britney Spears, or would you want to you know, just do music and live comfortably? Like, what is your ultimate goal? Do you want to tour the world?
I mean, I've always had like, since I love playing live, like one of my goals is to have like a headline tour outside of Sweden. It could be, I don't know, America, UK, or Europe. Like, that's one of my, like, wow, that would be amazing. And so that's like a specific goal, but like other than that, I feel like just like, you know, like if one of my songs would be like sung in by like teenagers at a like a summer graduation party, if they would like play my, like, I feel like the thing that you like, the weird thing about like being songwriters and creating music, it's like, okay, I can be a part of other people's lives without actually being there. So like that would be an ultimate goal, to like have a song that sort of grows bigger than me and just like becomes a part of other people's lives. And I mean, some, in a way, that's already what's happening, since like people are listening to it and obviously they relate to it, but it would be cool to like see it on a bigger scale and like, you know, yes, something like that. Like maybe they sing it at a graduation thing in school, or like my song is the song that they like I don't know, sing on like that you find out that like some like crew of friends have my song as like their song or something. That would be awesome.
That's really cool.
I love your songs, and I feel like people can get different things from it. And what I got from a lot of them is like, it's very like sensual. Like there's just a lot of like, it just feels good.
Thank you. Yeah, maybe like a holiday graduation party in a school isn't the scene for my songs in a way.
No, I mean,
but thank you. Like that's also something that I've always been very like, you know, it's always been like one of the core things for me to like, you know, very like broaden the like thing of for female artists, like, and I feel like that is happening a lot right now, which is awesome. And I'm so excited for that, because I don't like this thing where people are like, yeah, you're like, she's the like sexy girl, and like she's the sensitive girl, and like she's the sad one, and she's that, like, I feel like women have many parts, and like I want to be like conveying like a person and not just like one role, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I definitely, I feel it. You have a great range, and I even like that blues side that you said you grew up on too, that you can definitely hear it.
Wow,
and yeah. One of the other questions we have is if you have a story that you haven't told before, I guess publicly, in your early like music career, or just like in your life, like.
Okay, now I have to think, and like what is fun to tell. Maybe it's something about me writing a song, like when writing a song something happened. Okay, I don't think I've told this to anybody, but like when I wrote Sweet Talk, it's on the EP, and it was a single before the EP. I had a session with like we were 3 people that wrote it, and a girl called Ariana, she was producing, and me and Tony, we didn't know each other, but now he's like one of my best friends. And we hadn't really like gotten to know each other yet. And we were gonna like, we set the chords to the song, and then like we went out to write the lyrics and the melody, and she started like working on the production a bit. And then we just like wrote the song, and it was like written by itself. It was so cool. Like we had a connection, and we just wrote it. It was like it was done in like 20 minutes.
Oh
and,
my god!
and when we like did the chorus, it's like, you call me sweetheart, you make my knees hurt. I was like, this melody's so fucking good. And then like, I don't remember this, but he told me afterward, when we like started hanging out more, and like we are friends now, obviously. He was like, yeah, I was like so shocked when we wrote that song, because you like, when we finished the chorus melody, you like stood up and you like looked me in the eyes and you were like, Tony, fuck me in the ass. This is so good. And he was like,
So awesome.
no, that's so what? Okay. No. And he was, yeah, so that was fun, but I don't remember doing that. He just told me that I said that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that good in 20 minutes. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Is there a song from another artist that you wish you wrote?
Yeah. Oh my god. Plenty of songs. I mean, in a way, it would have been cool. Now I have to think. It's like always like you know these things, but when somebody asks you, you're like,
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like when someone goes, "What's your favorite band?" You're like,
yeah, you're like, I don't even know. I don't know any band. Okay, what is like? I mean, in a way, like I would have loved to have written like "Someone Like You" by Adele, because it's like, or like "Somebody That I Used to Know" by Gotye and Kimra, because it's like every person in this planet relate to those songs. It's like teenagers think they know what it's about, and like old people actually know what it's about, and like people my age sort of know what it's about, and it's like, yeah, you really like relate. I also love Be Mine with Robin, if you know Robin. She's a Swedish, yeah, because it's like how she like paints a picture with the lyrics, with you know, you can relate to it even though you weren't there. You still feel like, shit, he had on that scarf I gave you, blah 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 blah, blah. Or she had on the scarf yeah. So one of those 3 songs. I didn't actually say one now, but yeah.
Oh no, I like
I love it.
Yeah, I love lyrics, so I feel all of this.
Cool. That makes me happy. So many people are like, people don't listen to lyrics, and I'm like, yes, I really think they do.
Yeah. I was that person that, like, you know, when CDs were popular, I'd read all the lyrics to the song.
Me too.
Yeah. I think that's a big thing that people latch on to, besides is the lyrics, especially for those you really, really like. Well, what's next for you? Are you going to be doing? I saw on the stuff that Adam sent over to us, it looked like you did some dates in the UK this month.
Yeah, in July I'm going. So.
Oh, in July.
Yeah. I'm going there in the like end of July, and I have a few small shows and like some sessions and stuff. And in Sweden, I played one show this week, and I'm playing one in Gothenburg in July. But I'm also working a bit with the DJ workshops that I told you about. It's like I do these like camps. I'm a part of this like what's it called in English? It's like a collective sort of like, so
Workshop.
yeah, so it's like we're only women, and we make like camps for like young girls that are like 13 to 17, and they can like come and learn how to produce and write songs and stuff. So tomorrow I'm going to a small town in Sweden called Åmål. It's like really, really small, and we're going to be there for a week and making, just teaching them how to do stuff.
Oh, that's so inspiring.
Yeah, that is. That's amazing.
It inspires me so much, because it's like, you know, girls in their teens, they're like so, especially I think in small cities, they're like so afraid of standing out because nobody wants to be like the weird one. And then like when you grow up, you realize that the weird ones are the cool ones. And it's like, you can sort of see how they like transform during the week. Like in the beginning, they can't even like, they don't even want to press the buttons because they're so afraid of doing wrong. And it's like, you have to do wrong to learn, you know?
Yeah.
And I've done workshop with mixed like crowds, with like both boys and girls. And I've done just with boys. And it's such a difference in like how they dare to do wrong. And I think that's why a lot of guys have, it's easier in the beginnings for them to like just learn things because they're okay with not like being perfect on the first shot, while girls are like so scared of doing wrong. So it's a fun job.
That's
to,
really
like,
cool.
That is really cool.
That's they're gonna be, you know, thankful for you for the rest of their life for opening that for them. That's amazing.
I hope so. Maybe a little bit. As long as they have fun during that week, I'm happy. In the beginning, it's always so awkward because they're like so quiet, and you come there and you're like, "Hi, how are you guys?" And they're like, "Fine." Like some like they stand there like lit candles, just like hello. And then in the end of the week, when you like see that they are like they dare to like be a bit more rowdy, you're like, yes, my job is done. So hopefully they can bring that with them in the future. Yeah.
That's great. What advice would you give to an aspiring artist?
Oh, in a way, I feel like I'm an aspiring artist, like because I'm still like evolving all the time. But
hundreds of thousands of plays on Spotify. I mean,
yeah, maybe I should just accept the fact that I actually am an artist. Yeah. Or like I know that I'm an artist. It's not about the place, but it's still like, yeah. Okay, so if you want to like start out, I feel like take your time and find your thing that you want to convey. And also like find like I don't agree with this thing like just trust you, just do you, because I mean I do feel like, yeah, trust your gut and all those things, but like find yourself a couple of close people that you actually trust and that you think are good for you. And it doesn't have to be like industry people, it could be your friends or I don't know, a family member, and just like listen to them, because I've realized like I can have such a connection with a song, but I wrote it, you know. And sometimes you have to hear from like other people what they hear when they hear your song, because they weren't in the room when you wrote it and they're not in your head. So like take advice from the people that you trust regarding the songs, and like, yeah, just keep pushing. Like don't be, I mean, it's a fine line to like be too much like I'm the best, listen to me, because I think if you do that too much, people are going to be like, oh, shut the fuck up. But but if you like, you know, just like find your way to like hassle around stuff, like still try to promote your things, and like I don't know, make a fake email and like pretend that you're a manager and write to people.
That's awesome.
I don't know if it works better. Like I realized that it works just as well with me writing to some things, and to some like blogs and stuff, they think it's cooler that somebody else recommended. I don't know. But yeah, just like don't be scared to just try it, because I think I when I released my first song, I was like, okay, but if somebody listens to it, that's great. But then like now it's up in like 430,000 plays on Spotify, and it's like apparently it's been, people like it.
Yeah.
So like just try it, and like the worst thing that can happen is that a song doesn't go well. Like I have songs that don't have that much plays, and then you just have to be like, okay, I'm happy with the song, but it just didn't push through. Like, yeah, just like keep trying. So
You
that's
have a
what my biggest
song
advice.
on. Is there a song that you've put out that you thought was going to do better than it did?
Oh yeah,
As
definitely.
Far as, okay.
No, but like of course I have. Like I feel like some of my songs deserves like fucking 50 million plays. Like if
Right.
I, like, but yeah, some songs, it's interesting because some songs that I've released, I'm like, this is like a jam. Like people are gonna like this, and then it doesn't like get as much place as other songs, which I think is like has so much with timing and like if you get the right playlister to like your song or whatever. So it's a lot of stuff, but yeah, definitely. But then it's good to like actually be proud of the product, like when you release it, because you know, like, okay, I still wouldn't have done this differently. I'm still proud of this. So that must be, I think that's the, like, for me, that must be the core. That must be the core. I sound like a Star Wars person, but like, like that has to be the main thing. And then if a release does well, that's awesome. But you still know that like this song meant so much to me, and the people that will hear it, they will like it. Because some, like one of my songs, Deja Vu, that I released, that's like a song that hasn't gotten so much place. Like it's been out for like a year or more, and it's like, I don't know, 17,000 plays. Like it's not so much on Spotify, but that's like the song that like most random people have written to me, like people that I don't know. It's been like a bunch of people that just like, yeah, I really like this song, thank you. And I was like, oh, so then at least it made a difference for them.
Yeah,
you know,
that's really interesting. That a song that didn't perform as well as another one is the one that's getting the most reaction as far as people writing and reaching out to you.
Yeah. And I think it's a gamble still, because I have people that like me and know me, but I don't have like a huge fan base. So for me, it's very like critical, because if I do the push right, and if I get the right like timing with emailing radio, then the song gets more coverage. But like I don't have like I'm not really Rihanna, and everyone's like waiting on my music to be, you know. I have to be like, here is the music, you're welcome, you know. So, yeah, but
I'm sure they'll start getting more plays because you're amazing.
Yeah,
thank you so much. Thank you.
And I love your style too. Love it. Like,
Oh, thank you so much.